working. All right, I'll share this desktop again. Okay, let's talk about Email Lab 1. Okay. This is probably not the funnest lab we have, but I will tell you that I've got more students come back to me later in life and say, thank God you covered that. That was the most useful thing in their lives. I had a guy who took this class, actually halfway through the class, he came to me, he applied for a job at OMES. They asked him one question, do you know how to read an email header? He's like, oh my God, I know exactly how to read an email. And he was like, so he got the job. So it's crazy. Another one worked, wasn't OMES, was another state agency, but they got blacklisted. Blacklisted means you can no longer send email. Say if someone at Rose State was sending out a bunch of junk email, Rose domain would get blacklisted where no one in the world would accept email from Rose State again. That's a bad thing. Well, that happened to a state agency. And they tracked it down, the student did, by figuring out, they got a copy of the email, they read the header, they figured out where it came from, tracked it down to a contractor that had an infected laptop. He'd bring his laptop in, plug it into the network, do a little stuff, unplug it and leave. But they tracked it down, found it, and he's like, I would have never been able to figure it out without this project. So, kind of cool information. Okay, the purpose is to post electronic, give you results inside. You're actually good doing the quizzes area on this one. The purpose is to gain an understanding of how to track email. Let me explain why I'm having you doing quizzes. In the past, they were kind of ambiguous. Ambiguous, there it is. Ambiguity, that's what it was. It was ambiguity in the questions. It's kind of like, tell me what you can learn about this email, and maybe you didn't see something that you should have, so I was taking away points. So it's like, but you didn't tell me what to look for. So that's why now you know what you're looking for. I tell you do this, and you got to go answer specific questions. Okay. Okay. So scenario is you have received an email. You need to track it to its origin and answer some questions about it. Okay. Analyze the header and answer the questions, which we'll look at one. The questions are all needed, but the header, you're not all going to have the same email. There's random emails you're going to be given. So you two could get the same email, you might not. So as long as you know the theory behind it, you should be fine. Okay, no special rules for this one. On the way the quiz works, you can open it to see your header and your questions, and you can leave it open. It's not timed, so it'll go on for days. As long as I have it turned off where you can get into other stuff, we'll be fine. Okay, the scope, again, how to understand how to track emails. Here's the questions you're going to answer. When you open it, you see a picture of your email header. Okay, they're all there. I'll even show you where they're at in here. Use the above image to answer the following questions. Let's talk about domain names. Okay, does anyone know what a top-level domain is first? Some of you might not know that. .com, .edu, whatever. Right, .net. That's a top-level domain. There's a very few, but they've been more added. .church, .sex, all that stuff's on there now. .ninja. So there's a lot of new top-level domains. But that's a top level. So what's the secondary level? So if edu is a top level, Rose.edu. That would be a secondary domain. Okay? So if you saw .edu, that's the top level domain. And this pertains to what's called DNS. We'll talk about throughout this course in different labs. So edu is a top level domain. There's the ICANN, the place that manages numbers and names. They basically gave the authority over to EDUCAUSE. EDUCAUSE manages all edu domains. To get a .edu, you have to be an educational institution. It used to be a four-year university for years. Because I don't know if I can show you. Let me see here real quick.
So like Raider.rose, would that all be a second?
Raider.rose.edu. Okay, it's still under the Rose second. Okay. Raider is what's called the host name. You know when you type in like www.rose.edu? The www is actually the host name of a machine on the Rose network. Okay, and I can't show it to you in here. Is it not going to show it in here anywhere? Okay, look at our domain right here. It's hard to see that.
Oh.
And if we click this speaker by tapping the screen,
Click the speaker, something happens. But if you look at this picture, it says admin.rose.cc.ok.us. That's our actual domain. So what is our top level?
Zoom meeting.
Right. And then, okay, so we're to the state of Oklahoma. Then we're a community college. What it is, they broke out even further. Top level, secondary, tertiary, and so on. So, hey, someone turn your microphone off. Whoever's got your microphone on, turn it off. I don't know who it is. Okay. Now, we finally, years ago, they allowed community colleges, so we were able to get rose.edu. It was funny because I ran an ISP for years. I ran out of my house. I got a server room. Still there. It's just full of junk now. But I was going to buy rose.cc for Rose Community College because we actually had it. My email was kdewey@admin.rose.cc.ok.us. That sucked. So I was going to buy rose.cc, but somebody else owned it. But they weren't using it. It was for sale. So I'm like, what are you going to sell it for? $600. Okay, names cost $8. So, dude, this is for a nonprofit organization. Well, I will give you $300, but you must give me a notification from your school for a donation of $300. It's not for the school. It's just me, so I don't have to type that damn long name in. What I was going to do is I was going to route the email through it so I could make it easier on me. But literally, right during that process of me trying to buy it, we got approved for that .edu, and we don't need it anymore. But sometimes things are known by more. So rose.edu, edu is top level, Rose is the secondary. Here, US is the top level, OK is the secondary, but not really. Okay, explain why. This field changes all the time. So if you saw a domain for billybob.com.cn, what do you think that might be? What would the top level be? .cn, which is China. Okay. So would the secondary be .com? .cn, .com would be the secondary. .com.cn. Technically not. It would be billybob.com.cn. So it's kind of, if you include the country, then the next one, it's like .com would not be the secondary for China. The secondary would be billybob.com.china. Understand the difference? But if it was billybob.com, it's just that you add the prompt. The reason I bring this up is I kind of added some emails with this in it this week, actually today. So I just explained the way it works. So if you have something from China, but you don't, you have something somewhere else, the secondary would be the billybob.com.cn, that instead of just rose.edu, it would actually have 3 parts instead of 2.
So it's all of it, including the .com, is the secondary.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. But if you had an email that came from rose.edu, the secondary is rose.edu. That's all there is. But even here, the secondary would actually be rose.cc.ok.us. It's weird because the way the state of Oklahoma does, you'll see we have US, then we have Oklahoma, then they broke it down to community colleges, but it still doesn't identify. So really it's rose.cc.ok.us. I know it's weird. There's no perfect answer for all of this. I mean, if you think US, y'all think we're way up there in technology?
No.
No, we are so far behind the rest of the world. I took a cruise, British Isles cruise. I never lost cell signal at all, ever, except for one port. I think it was in France. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, they blocked cell signals in that entire port area. Literally, we were coming into port and I had fine, but all of a sudden, as soon as we got closer, boom, no cell, zero, none.
Why?
Maybe for customs, they don't want people to be, all right, we're here, bring out the drugs. I don't know. But I mean, the entire rest of it, even out, we took excursions way out in the middle of nowhere in old castles. The Blarney Stone, we went to that castle, full cell signal. That thing's out in the middle of 50 miles from everything. But so no, we have nothing. But if you just look at us as an example, that's not always the right example. Yeah, the internet started here, but it's been modified, changed a bunch. Okay. So secondary domain. Think you can figure that one out now? I don't think I've ever explained it that well. Okay, what's the IP address of the email originating from? Let's look at an email real quick. Let's find, how can I see? You know what? I'm going to look at a sample inside of our class. That'll be easier for me because they're already in there. So under lab 1, under content, you will see the actual emails you're going to be using are here. There's 7 of them. Those are the ones you're going to get. Okay? So when you open up your quiz, you'll be able to know which one it is. Then you can get the picture from here if you want. I just added in there if you want to look at other ones. Okay? Let's look at a sample. Let's pick this one here. Oh, I bet I don't have Outlook on here, do I? Let's find out. I bet I don't have Outlook. Ready? Nope, you're not. Kidding me.
You do have Outlook.
Oh, it did pop up. Okay, good. Okay, no, I do not want to set up Outlook. Come on. There it is. Here's the email. This came from my bank. Okay. In all emails, it varies based on your client. If I go in here to option, no, it's not options. Hold on. Where is it in this one? It's under properties. There it is. Under properties, I'm going to find this stuff here. I'm going to take all that. This time I got a notepad. Good. Worried there for a minute. Let me format this font so you guys can see it a little bit. Come on. Hello. Oh, format font. Let's go with a 20. Can y'all see that a little better? Wow, it's going to be crazy hard to read, but turn off word grab. Let me explain how this works. Every email you get comes with a header. The way headers work is the moment you click send, when you're composing an email, it starts building this header. And every time it goes through a system, through a router, through another mail server, it keeps adding to the top. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets to its arrival point and it quits. Now, if I was to forward this email to you, what do you think happens to all this information?
Just shifts down, right?
No, it goes away. If I took an email from Dawn there, or Colton, whatever he wants to be called, if Colton sent me an email and I send it and I take it, remember, it's already been delivered to me, that conversation is done. If I forward it on, it creates a new email and just includes his content, but not his header. That's why Terry wants me to try to help find where this email came from, but he doesn't have the original. So he says, well, I'll just forward it to you. I said, that won't work. I need the email header, but he doesn't think he can explain to his mother how to get to this. So, and without this, because if you just forward me the email, it starts the whole, it's kind of like, you buy something from Walmart. Yeah, you're buying it from Walmart, but it really came from someone else. You got to deliver it to Walmart, that's done. And then there's a new transaction of selling that to you. You don't know where they bought it from. So same with emails. The headers get erased when you get forwarded. So if you want, yes, sir.
So what about replying to an email and adding somebody into it with that person finding that header?
No, it's a whole brand new conversation. So yeah, the only way to get this is look at the original email. Now, the way I did this is I did file save as. I saved the email message. That's totally fine. Then you can send the email message. Don't forward it. See, I saved it to an MSG file. Then I opened up the MSG file. That's fine. You can take that MSG file that you saved and email that to someone and you're good to go. Or you can actually get this and copy and paste it in and send that as well. But if you just forward the email, it gets overwritten. Okay. Now, I think it's chapter 12 in the book talks about how email works. I'm not covering it. I'm covering what you need to know for this. You can read the rest if you like. So let's look at this email. Okay. So it starts at the bottom. I have removed a bunch of other stuff from this. Like I removed the content of the message because it was too long to put on. And And I would like the ones you guys get, I removed stuff like SPS, I removed some digital signatures which you didn't need, just to make them so they fit into a picture. I did not remove anything that you need to solve it. So if it looks like it's missing something, well, yeah, I removed the content because I just wanted you to track it. I didn't care what the content was. So this email came to Ken Dewey. Here's the subject. Okay. Here's the date and time where it was sent. This email was sent on the 18th of August, 2008 at 5:43:37 minus 7. What the heck does that mean? Time zone. It's actually one time zone to the west of us. Is that mountain time, I guess?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So this was sent in mountain time. So I'm going to skip up to the top of the email real quick. So remember, 5:43. If you don't know that's 5, it's 5. 5:43:37 mountain time. So it was received at 9:43:46 at 500. So, okay, so let's look again. So we came 5:43:37 and we received it at 7:43:46. So if you notice, this time zone is off by 200. So in other words, it's Eastern. So instead of 7, this will become, or instead of 1900, this becomes 1700. Okay? So how long did it take to get here? 37 is when it left. It arrived at 46. 9 seconds. Sound right? Because even though the time shows it's off by 2 hours, you got to take into the time zone. Sometimes they'll have UTC. UTC is Greenwich Mean Time. So that's like on the middle of nowhere out there. Okay? So that's how you figure out how long it took. And that's one of the questions. So you take the time at the bottom, you take the time at the top, and subtract them. One of them I did today, man, it took like 800 seconds. I've never seen an email take that long in my life. But you'll see it.
The thing that takes so long whenever you're waiting for emails for a page refresh rate, that's what takes so long.
Well, I was sitting there, it's like, well, no, that actually, what I do is when I receive some good emails for this class, I like leave them in my spam. So I went through there today and got out a couple of them. Okay, so y'all understand the whole time thing? Again, the bottom time from the top time. This is arrival time. Down here, the last one is the sent time. Okay, it's got a message ID. Message ID is kind of like how you track an email. It's kind of like a signature of it. That if I was whatever client or company and the cops came to me and they said, I need to see message ID such and such, so they could go find it. Okay. All right. Sent in plain text. Don't worry about the encoding. It was sent Microsoft CIDR for Windows 2000 because obviously it's an old email. Tells you what to reply to. Okay. Reply to doesn't have to be where it came from. Okay. I can send an email and say reply to Jay Webb. Actually, her secretary all the time sends out email on her behalf. So it's very easy to change that. Very super easy to change. It's kind of like, if you know that some of you are young, you've probably never done this, but you know those things that look like an envelope and you put stuff in them, write an address on it, you put a stamp in the corner. Remember what goes in the top left-hand corner of that? What's that address?
Yes.
Reply to or return to that. Here's the way you can send mail for free. Take your envelope, put where it's going to. Instead of your address, put where it's going to in the reply address. You don't put a stamp on it. Send it off. It'll get to where it's going. Whoa, there's no stamp on here. Send it back, and then send it back where it's going, and we'll get it. It works. Not that I've ever tried it. I've ever tried it. That's so the reply to doesn't necessarily mean nothing. I can make an email saying I'm any one of you. It doesn't matter. Okay. So it says it came from. See this whole received from's? Every time it goes through a new system, there's a received from. That's the thing that keeps adding on at the top. Okay. So the first received from says received from this. What the heck is that?
That's a
Kind, special one. Loopback address. Basically, what this is telling me this didn't come from a valid IP. They are obviously running some sort of statement system, okay? And that statement system is probably on the same machine that sends out the email. So we'll probably get generated from the software, passed over to the email system. So it came from itself. That's what a lot of them will do. So I used to work for a Sergeant Grit Marine Specialties, and I made him a mailing list program, and it would generate mail and send it out, kind of like the junk mail you all get, but his was all requested. But so really the system, he would write his message up into the system and say, go, and it would take it and send it to all 8,000 of his email people. Okay? So that's an internal address. Let me explain real quick the difference between, I'm assuming you all have networks. This is your 5-minute refresher, 5 seconds. Internal and external, two different things. First of all, we got loopback, which is not really an IP address. That is really yourself. It's kind of like, that's me. Okay. Internal addresses are internal only. Like in row state, if I was to go here, let me close that. If I was to go to here, and if I went to IP chicken, if I went to IP chicken, that's my IP address. You go to most any computer on row state, and if you go to IP chicken, you get the same exact address. But if we look here, now I'm going to go to this command prompt. Where's my mouse? Okay, this says my IP address is 10.55.10.87. I know it's hard to see, but this is telling me 10.55.10.87. So that's my IP address. So why the heck is IP chicken telling me that's my IP? It's behind NAT. NAT stands for Network Address Translation. What they realized, years ago, everybody got their own address. But you can't have their own. There's not enough numbers. So organizations like Row State set up a firewall that performs NAT. So everything we send out, this computer sends it to the gateway. And the gateway, first thing it says, okay, are you going inside of Row State? And if it is, it just sends it over there. Like maybe I'm sending something to Roy. It'll go to the internal mail server and won't ever leave Row State. But if, say, you're surfing Google or surfing IP Chicken, so my computer sends it to the gateway, and the gateway says, oh, this ain't me. Then it just forwards it out the internet. And at the same time, it makes an entry in the net table. Hey, BS129-00 just sent a packet. Here's the number of it. Because that's to Google. It replaces the source address with itself. So that 10.55 address that was on the packet is gone. The gateway replaces it with its address, sends it to Google. And based on sequence numbers and acknowledgement numbers, which you'll learn a whole bunch more about Thursday's class, that comes back from Google back to the gateway and says, here's your reply. And then the gateway looks at that, okay, that specific number packet went to Kindu. So it then replaces the source, replaces the destination, it takes off it and puts me on it and then sends it over to me. That's kind of how that works. That's pretty simple. Firewall, a lot of times they're combined. Your router at your home does the same thing. I'm assuming if you got a router at home, your IP address is internally probably 192.168.1. That's an internal address. It will not work on the internet. 192 does not work on the internet. 172 does not work on the internet. I'll tell you, this is the one thing most people get wrong. I'm going to ask you a question down here. And I'm going to ask you, what is the IP the email address originated from? I want the first public address. So do not give me an address of 127, because that's not a real IP address. It's loopback. Do not give me an IP address of 192. That's internal. Do not give me one of 172 or 10. So you give me something with a 172, 192, or 10, you got it wrong. It's like that 127. I told you it's not a real address, so don't use it. Okay. All right, so that email started here. It went from this address. It was received by this system, bitstatement.org. Okay, well, where the heck is bitstatement.org? Well, two ways to find out. The easiest way is look at the next one. So if it came from this, was received by bitstatement.org, obviously the next one came from bitstatement.net, which is normally the same place. But here's how you can check. You can ping it or do NS lookup. And let's look up. Let me change this font here. Properties, font, Placidia 20. Better? Okay, dolce.bitstatement.org. And let's look up, stands for name server lookup. It's going to go out on the internet and say, who the heck is this guy? And it's going to say, I don't know. This is an old email. Yeah, let's try this. Now, okay, this email's 10 years old now. It might not exist anymore. But say it came from, we'll just do another one, but I know it exists. Let's say I was looking at Google's address. What it does is going to come back. First thing it tells me is where did it get this information? It got it from Rose's internal server. That's why it's an internal address. But the information is this, is 170. Why is it?
It's on gateway.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Hold on. Why is it giving me that? That's not right. No, non-authorized. Yeah, so that just means it's a clone. It's a copy. Why is Google giving me that? Shouldn't be. That is crazy. Okay, fine. We're gonna try somebody else. I don't know why they're doing that. I'll explain more. Oh, yeah, there you go. There's MSN. Okay, let me explain a little bit more. Okay, you know I told you internal and external. For this project, that is the gospel. But that's not always true. Like when I ran my ISP at my house, so I was a service provider. I had all these servers and routers and everything. So if my addresses are 66.210.163.10 basically, my outside should be Cox's address because that's who my provider was. Okay, it's outside my network. It should be whatever their address is because that's my connection. But they give me a 192.168 address. I says, how are you possibly, is my external address, it's kind of like that external door leads into a building, is inside of a building. It didn't make sense. But then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. My external connection is internal to Cox. So rather than wasting external addresses for their internal connections, even to me, they used an internal number. But then they just routed my external number through the and it works. So that's probably what Google's doing. It's probably using, who knows how they're going. But so it's not always clear cut. But for this project, do not turn in a 172 or a 10 or a 192. So I'm telling you, you want to. You can also tell somebody else to give you the information. This first one, you'll notice it came from Rose State here. The second one came from Google right here. You can tell it to use someone else. Like at your house, if your internet goes down, the odds are your internet's not down. It's probably your router's down or your DNS servers are down. DNS is like a phone book. I just told it to ask somebody else. Right. I just told them, I said, well, look this up, but ask Google who it is. That's why I came back from Google and gave me, just happens to be the same address. It's not always the same address. Okay?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it always works. So at your house, at your home routers, just put that in there. Forget whatever the hell Cox gives you because they're suck. But in Google, they have 8.8.8.8 and also 8.8.4.4. Let's try 4.4. Yep, there it is. Done. DNSB. And they're always up. Google's never down. They have servers everywhere. Okay? Yeah, one time. All right. So, but I can't. Again, it's been this sample email is long. But normally, what you can do is you can take this name and it should match this name. Then that name's number is right there. So it should be 206. They've probably redone their system and got rid of the name or something. So it came from DOLCE and was received by mail.bitstatements.org. And then it came from mail.bitstatements.org, and there's their address. It was received from there by ironport.admin.rose.cc.ok.us. Then it was received from ironport at this address by, how do I get rid of Jerry? Jerry, I'm moving here. Okay, so it came from Ironport, which is this address, and it was received by Ray. So then Ray at this address send it to Triton. Okay, so if I asked you what is the final external IP address, what's the answer? 206.173.39.194 is the correct answer. The rest all into it. Okay. There's one of the emails. It has a very short lifespan. So basically, it left somewhere and went to the end. So basically, the second address and the final address are the same. So don't freak out. If you get one, it's like it just went from here to there. Well, then you're lucky. That's all you got to worry about.
It's just a-
Very effective. It knew where it was going. Okay. So we know where the first address is, and there's the final address, and then I want the second address. Okay. Am I good on that? I just showed you how to do that. Not all of them will show you this number. Actually, a lot of them won't. So you might have to look up this with NS lookup and find out what the heck that is. Sometimes they don't show you the number. Yes, sir. Right. And the final will be at the top. So you want to get the bottom one, then the next one. But let's go back. That's a good question. Pretend that this was public. So that would be the first one. And it's received by this guy. So this one would actually be the second one. And this email before, when the names were good, that was actually different than this. See how this is .org down here, and this one's .net? They were a different number. I can't show you that. It changed. Okay, a few other questions. All right. What is the admin contact, postal contact for the domain? Well, let me show you how that works. When you get a name, we're going to want to go to whois, just type whois. I think it's whois.net, isn't it? Whois.net, or you can do it with a GoDaddy. I want to know who's in charge of google.com. You can't know this information. Why is it taking so long?
Checking your clearance.
I go to Network Solutions. I'm going to netsol.com. Now in Network Solutions, I'm going to go down here to whois, right here. Yeah, they seem to work better usually. Okay, I am not a robot. That's called the capture, by the way. Okay. Now this gives you all this information about Google. All this. This is when they bought the name. When did they register? Okay. So the question is, who is the admin contact zip or postal code? So if I went down here and I saw the admin contact, his postal code is 94043. Easy enough? Super easy to find. Not quite super. Let's pick up, let's try one. Let's pick, I need a one in China or Japan or something. Let's try google.com in China. I don't know if it's, no, that would be google.com.cm, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Like, you cannot know that. Oh, okay, there's one. Yeah. Okay. On this question, there's a couple emails where I reworded the question a little bit. Because the ones out of the country, it's not always quite as clear. It doesn't say admin, it says something else. So what I did was at the end of the question, it says, will be listed as this. So it'll help you find it. Okay? All right. Now, that who is for US addresses. Obviously, checking out China, it's not going to work, is it? It's not going to work. So what you need to do, if I find my browser here, you go on Google. This is your friend. Who is China? And it tells you, no. Who is China Internet Registry? There we go. China Internet Registry. And we are here. We are in your computer. Okay, there it is. China who is, okay? We got it. There you go. You'd put it in there. Okay. There it is. So the who is to network solution all them is for US addresses. The ones external you have to find out. And now let's do another one. Let's go back to network solutions. And I'm going to go to the who is because it seems to be quicker. There's also one in GoDaddy. Let's look up rose.edu. Yes, I'm still not a robot. It's going to be like, helping you. It actually puts it here now. Oh, that sucks. That's cheating. In the past, they said go to EduCause. See EduCause in there? Basically, in the past, it said we don't manage that one, go ask EduCause. So you had to go to educause.org and you had to type it in there. But now it seems like they give it to you. It's not fair. Now, let me explain something about this. Does this look, so if I asked you for the zip code of the admin contact you would give me? Okay. Do you think that's right the way they did that? No, it's not. First of all, you should never put a name in there.
Yeah.
What happens if John Peterson leaves tomorrow?
Or James.
Or yeah, John or Jimmy leave tomorrow. Who the hell's gonna know how to change this? So you should probably put in DNS contact or admin contact or Rose whatever. Because the moment you put a specific name in there, you know, I took care of a company called CIDR Title Service. It's kind of like a mortgage company, but for airplanes. Dixie's husband, Jerry, died. And he took care of everything. And he literally just kicked the bucket and done. She knew nothing. And that same year, the domain was expiring, and everything was registered to Australia, so I had to get all the death certificates. And you ever work with Australia? They're like exactly the opposite side of the world. So if I send them something, it's the middle of the night. Great. So they read it just after I went home. So then they reply, and it's my middle of the night, and that, you know, it takes forever. But the point is, it's not a good idea to put a specific person, put like a generic address at your company. And plus, now we know who's in charge of our network. If I'm going to be a bad guy, now I know, hey, I better contact this John Primo guy. Yeah, James Johnson.
When I did Apple Tech support,
Yeah.
they had, instead of using like the company names or the Apple IDs for all their devices,
Yeah.
they had one of their tech guys set them all up, put them all under his name when he got fired, changed the password, and nobody could get any of it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep, that's that.
Okay, let's look up Apple. Okay. So here we go. Apple's admin name is domain administrator. That's probably better. And the email is domains@apple.com. Now, at least it's not assigned to Sarah Hoover at apple.com and she's pissed and changed the password. You still work there?
No. They changed the password, or that he would go in and change like into apple.cm, and then you can't reset the email because there's no email link to it.
Oh, nice.
So it just loops back in the system over and over.
And it's so hard to get them to fix it. Like I said, that guy was dead. And you're like,
Yeah,
we can't work with you.
to get an Apple ID
Dead.
fixed
Yeah.
after somebody dies, you have to like forward a death certificate.
That's what I had to do.
Work like 2 or 3 people. And
Yeah.
it takes weeks.
It
I know,
did.
because I was that guy. I had to fix that.
I feel that sucks. He's like, you gotta fix your website down. I'm like, tell me something. Well, I don't know anything. I'm like, all right. So that's how you can find information there. Now, I'm going to ask you the network address in CIDR notation that the email originated from. CIDR stands for Classless Interdomain Routing. Back from your networking class, you should remember, you got class A, B, C, D, and E. Well, that's a stupid idea. So now we have CIDR, Classless Interdomain Routing, and I tell you how to enter it. So how can we figure that out for this email? Where's my email? Oh, no, the sample one. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to find that first address that hopefully is still somewhat valid. It's still got to be a valid address. So I'm going to take this address. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to arin.net. Okay? ARIN.net. American Registry for Internet Numbers. Obviously, if you're working with China, you need to get the one for China. If you're working with whatever, you need to get the other. And then you put it in here. And it comes up and it says that address block is owned by MCI Communications. So it's like row state. Actually, let's look at row state. What was that IP chicken we had? Is it still up there? Oh, damn it. IP chicken. Let's do row state's number. This will be a better example. Okay, I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to put in row state at aaron.net. And it comes up and it tells me that address is owned by OneNet. Okay? You see down here the customer is Rose State College. So Rose State has a connection to the internet. Our connection is through OneNet. So if there's any problem, they go through OneNet and then OneNet goes to us. Okay? So that address, so in other words, this whole block of numbers is managed by OneNet. We don't have all of them, but ours is inside this block. And there it is in CIDR notation. Everybody see that? So this block of addresses right there, which ours is the 12, so it falls right in the middle there. That is that address in CIDR notation. Okay? It's funny, it was literally in the middle of the fall. I had a call from Jimmy Johnson. We all know who he is now. Technical contact. He says, Ken, I just got a contact from OneNet. It seems you have a web server that is misconfigured and you're allowing remote access and they're stealing your user credentials. Sounds bad, doesn't it? I'm like, oh crap, I'll look into it. So I started looking at it. I'm like, wait a minute. It wasn't mine. It was Jimmy's. It was the main Rose website. So I called back. I said, Jimmy, you know that email to me? Yeah. What'd you find out? I'm like, Jimmy, that's not me. That's you. He's like, what? He goes, oh crap. That is the main network. I gotta go buy it. Wasn't me. I mean, but what it was, OneNet contacted Jimmy and said, hey, there's something going on your network.
He said, no, not mine.
That's what he said. He thought it was mine. I'm like, no, that's you, Jimmy. So I'm like, I don't even have remote access turned on a website. So, but that's why you see, so OneNet, that do not give me OneNet's zip code, which is on here somewhere. This is not the admin contact for rose.edu. Okay, well, this one happens to match, but normally it wouldn't match, okay? But yeah, this one just happens to match. But see, this guy's not either a guy. It's weird, but they don't always match. So we know how to answer that question. How long did it take? Got that one?
Yeah, it was like 12.
Okay, now this last question, if you've had this class before, if I catch you sharing it, you're going to get a 0. If everybody gets the same question. If I want to register a new domain, I could do that at Network Solutions, I could go to GoDaddy, I could go anywhere. If I want to register a new domain called rosestate.church, which food would I register it to? You have to think about it, and you'll figure it out.
Chicken.
So, the answer is, there is an answer. Those of you who had this class before, is there an answer? Yes, there's an answer. So they're kind of cheating if they've taken this before. That's the only question I didn't randomize. I was trying to think of something today. That's what I found, the .ninja domains. All right. Yeah, I read about that in an article a couple years back. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. So, all right. Any questions on this assignment? You have 1 week to do it. Actually, you have until Monday. So my plan is to be here this week and obviously Monday next week. I'm gone spring break. So let me stop this sharing.
When is spring break?
Middle of March.